I have a question. Is language the only way of understanding, or really the only way of thinking? Can thinking be done in other ways
Can thinking be,
rather than using language?
can thinking be done another way? If there was the signs, like you can use
Yeah,
this bottle.
the bottled water. Yeah,
Yes, if I have a bottle, it represents like water going in the bottle. I have a, like at the end of the day, there's still.
but did you understand, like, for not like that claim, but like, for example, let's say I'm pouring water in, right?
Hmm.
Do I need language to understand that water's pouring in there?
No, you don't.
I mean, and
Like
so
no.
you would just see it happening
Yeah,
before your eyes.
yeah.
And so, like, so if we're pouring water in, right? And we look at it, and we both understand that water is being poured into it without actually having to use language.
Hmm.
And so the um I mean,
Yeah, we could bring your bottle
oh yeah.
then.
Yeah, let's bring it this way. So, and another way I should say is that mostly, like, um this gets into another topic of my research. Is what's most interesting is that what Vygotsky was saying, which is a social psychologist researcher.
Hmm.
He argues that language is basically our man's greatest tool to understanding the world.
Absolutely, I agree.
But I should say that it's a tool
Hmm.
and not the only thing that we use to
Hmm.
understand the world.
I agree.
And so, yes, and so I would say that our common ground. That I would say that you use language in a way to understanding things, but there are other ways of accomplishing that same goal,
Yeah.
as terms of spirituality, in terms of also intuition, because our intuition is largely, um, well, I would say that the schema we have in our brains, right? Or kind of
Okay.
like ideas or signs. And
Yeah.
so, I use this as a method of showing my thoughts, right?
Hmm.
And so there are symbols, or rather also signs.
Yeah.
And so, um, that the claim that, and so what the claim I mean that some people don't have inner monologue is that they accomplish their goals in different ways. So some may, when I think of, like, people who have autism, right? They
Hmm.
have different ways of expressing themselves. It's not, I wouldn't view it as sort of like a like intellectual disability.
Hmm.
It's just a different way that's, like, it gets the idea of deviance, a
Yeah.
deviance from the norm. Is this is something that, like, I heard in a conversation of in my sociolinguistics class, was because sociolinguistics is largely driven on the assumption that, like, white American males are the leading force of this is what things should be, right?
Hmm.
This is how we should study things, the
Hmm.
perspective. And so someone said, well, how do we know that everyone else is doing something, like, why would you, how do we know that something else isn't the norm? And they're actually the weird ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the ones that we should be not criticizing, but like kind of studying, because they're doing things differently.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole, like, it's about perspective, I would say, largely, like, and so, when I say that, some people might not have inner monologue, or from that research, what I understand is that people still have that kind of spiritual self in them. They still have that
Hmm.
kind of intuition that comes to them, but I would say that it comes to them in different ways. Sometimes it could be just drawing, or any type of, like, and so I guess the heart of, like, communication is itself is really just the act of spreading a message. Really, how do
Hmm.
you spread a message? You can do it by drawing, you could do
Yeah.
it by speaking, you could do it by dancing, you do it by through music, you could do it
Hmm.
through sound, and you could do it through all these other means. And so that's what semiology and semiotics kind of just views, like, how does music show, like, what love is, or how does music show what, or how does, like, words show what love is,
Yeah.
like. And I think that we need to view it from different perspectives.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And again, it does. There's still like before those perspective comes out, manifests into the reality. There's
yeah,
that thought
yes,
that
exactly.
flushes in.
Like pure meaning, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what
So.
is pure meaning? That's a and that's what Vygotsky eventually says, that, like, what inner monologue eventually develops into is, there's stages, like, you because he or believes that inner monologue uh comes from our social, comes from, like, outside of us, so, like, people talking to us.
Mm,
And so it's like us, because it's us building the tool of language,
yeah.
trying to understand the world, trying to reason, because it's our greatest tool, right?
Yeah.
That's what he agrees in. And so he argues that eventually, that you become so, I would say, so good at the tool, or so good at using the tool, that eventually that you reach a level where it's just, just you get to a point of understanding meaning. What is meaning, right? Like, what do I that's a I would say the essence of what I study. What is meaning?